Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from sweet recording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with Joe Gangemi. And I got to tell you, people, first of all, I'm wearing my workplace HCM shirt. If you can see that, thanks to my friends over there at Workplace HCM. Rachel Kovic, I can't even pronounce her name, gave it to me. They were at my event the other night. And just so you know, we will not be recording for the next 3 weeks. Joe has stuff to do. I have stuff to do. But we'll be back in the first week of June. But in that time, please follow us on YouTube. Go to the Coop Tank and subscribe and look at past episodes because you learn a lot of good stuff. And we're here with Joe. And Joe, you're a really busy guy. So I think we spoke about it. But what's this big gig you have right now? You have this like really big, like I feel like a second hat. Like what's this big gig you started?
Nah, Coop, you're the man. I've recently connected with one Howard Eskin. He called me on the suite recording line. Pretty much out of the blue. And long story short, I ended up building and designing a streaming studio for him. And we got that done. And I picked up the production. The Howard Eskin Show is now streaming on Wednesday nights, 7:30 to 8:30, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. And it's on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X. And it's an awesome show. It's been a wild ride working with someone like that. So really surreal stuff, but it's a great opportunity, and I'm just trying to make the most of it.
Yeah, because you get a lot of stuff going on. You also have tell us a little about Contap. Joe has this great product called Contap. He's got so much shit going on. It's unbelievable. What's this Contap?
Thank you, Coop. Yeah, Contap is what we're calling the future of connection, and it's basically a series of NFC devices like this wristband here. There's a key fob as well. I can show you that on my keys. And we have table stands, and we have pins and stickers and a lot of other cool things. And they're all outfitted with a chip that allows you to tap your phone. When you do so, it brings you not just to one page, but it could bring you to a profile that has all of your links on it, kind of like a Linktree style concept, but we're trying to kind of marry like a Linktree style profile with this super seamless and instant means of connection. So you can contact me to learn more about it, or just go to contap.com, CONNTAP.
And finally, just give us a little quick review of Basad. We already know you produce shows, you build studios for Howard Eskin, but what can you do for everyday business owners?
Absolutely. Thank you, Coop. Yeah, so Sweet Recording is where me and Coop are right now. It's a studio in Mount Laurel where we specialize in video and audio content for brands and businesses and live streaming. We do studio design, mobile recording, all kinds of cool stuff like that. And I love to, work particularly with creative business owners that are looking for a forward-thinking way to really kind of expand on their marketing. So contact me, Joe Gangemi, anytime on LinkedIn, or learn more at sweetrecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right, we have a great show today. A few people that my one person's the first time on. One guest has been on 2 times, and I think my other guest has been on like 4 or 5 times. It's whenever I'm in the crutch for a guest, I go, "Hey, can you do it tomorrow?" I was at an event last night, and I had 2 guests booked, and I go, "Hey, you free tomorrow?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." So, but my first guest, she's a first timer, and she sponsors my event, Cocktails with Cooper. She's done it twice from Discover Health. It's Susan Nolan. How you doing, Susan?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for being on. And she's returning, and she comes to my comedy shows, not when I'm performing, but when Jay Black is, because Jay Black's her favorite comedian. She's also a 2-time sponsor of Cocktails with Cooper from Currency Trade System. It's Ann Casey. How you doing, Ann?
I'm great, Steve. Thank you for having me.
And finally, he's never sponsored Cocktails with Cooper, but he's been on the show like 4 or 5 times, and I go drinking with him in Philly sometimes. From John Cruice Photography, it's John Cruise. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back, Steve.
So, Susan, tell us a little about what Discover Health is.
Well, I'm a nurse patient advocate, and I help people and small businesses manage their medical care as well as sort out medical billing.
Okay. And Ann, tell us a little about Currency Trade System.
Yeah, we have proprietary indicators for trading the international currency markets, and we educate and help people become profitable traders.
How about you, John? Tell us a little about your company.
I run John Cruice Photography, and I help people visualize their stories into images.
Okay, so you're all pretty much, you're out there, you're working on, I'm sure this wasn't all your first job. I mean, I know some of your stories, but Susan, tell me the story of how you ended up with Discover Health, because I know you have a very good story about it. You did it the other night at the event, but how did Discover Health start?
Well, how did it start? Well, it started with an idea of how to help people who don't have anyone who understands the medical system. And it started when my husband was ill. He was diagnosed with hepatitis C. And for about 20 some years, it was at bay. And then, he went into liver failure, which we had to go through many doctor's appointments, hospital stays, procedures. And, being a nurse, I understood what was going on so I could be an integral part of the care team. It was a long journey, and he's very healthy today, thanks to the doctors at Penn Medicine and the nurses. Excuse me. So my sister-in-law had said to me one day when we were really having a tough time at the hospital, and I was working through what we needed to do, what I thought would be good for my husband. And she said, "What do people do who don't have someone like you?" So several years went by and an opportunity came up, and I always wanted to start my own business. And so I started to research and to find out if this would be a need for people. And I found that there were people out there, there were families, there were, people who didn't understand it, young people, older people that just needed to know if if that was the right thing to do.
Okay, I want to say real quick. My wife is saying hi, Joanne. Michelle Padilla, hello from the West Coast, and Karen Niv. She gave us a little high five. So hi to all of you. Thank you for watching. And the path to currency trade.
Yeah, so I was selling laboratory supplies and equipment, and my two daughters were in high school, and they were both college bound. I'm a single mom. I had a chunk of money for college, but I also had a goal for them to graduate college debt free. And so I knew that I needed to do something on the side to bridge the gap. So what I thought I was going to do was buy and manage a franchise. And I ended up also looking at trading on the way to a franchise. And I did a short course and I loved it. And then I invested into an education and I traded for about a year. At that point, I left the full-time position in sales, and now I trade about 60 minutes a day, and I help other people that either want to learn how to trade or that just want a method of taking profit out of the currency markets.
Okay. How about you, John? I know you have a very cool path to what you're doing now.
Yeah, I have had a couple different careers in my past. I spent the bulk of my adult life at Vanguard, the investment management company, and there I had two primary, fundamentally different careers. One was as a statistical analyst, where I worked on efficiencies of internal processes and investor behavior, and then over on the website, where I worked as a user experience designer, designing the digital platforms. And then photography was a hobby I picked up after I finished. I was going to architecture school while I was in there, and it was a hobby I picked up with a lot of new free time, and then started with buildings and then cityscapes and street scenes, and then I started to photograph people, and so then that's how I got into portrait photography.
Okay. So, and we'll go, but what do you love about your job? Because, people always, you see that so much. People that I love my job. I love my job. And everything's like the grass is great. Everyone loves, and there's downsides, but what is it that you really, when you sit there and you're happy and you're thinking about what you're doing, what is it that you love?
Well, trading is very exciting. It can be quite a roller coaster, but I kind of enjoy that part of it. And then the other side, helping other people that want to take profit out of the markets. I like to be able to help people out. It's not a great fit for everybody, but for the people that really take to trading, they love it. And it really does help people create a new stream of income that they otherwise wouldn't have unless they were working with someone like me.
Okay. How about you, John? What do you love about being the photographer?
For me, it's really about the people, because I enjoy getting to know people and their uniqueness and the story that they have to tell. And through my process is basically, you're not going to see my camera until I get to know you. And so we go through conversations, and it's like, now we're going to make something cool. So through that process, I get to know a variety of different backgrounds and stories. And I just find that interesting. It's another way for me to learn new things, because everybody has unique experiences, and just to be able to tell me about them is a way for me to get jazzed up.
Okay. Susan, I'm sure one thing is because you're helping people with their health, which is great, and you're sticking it to the man. But what do you love about your job?
Well, other than sticking it to the man, well, I think one of the things I like is that many people enter the health system. You know, everybody that you meet has had a doctor's appointment or some interaction with the health community. Um, I like helping people figure out they usually have like a hair bowl of problems. It's not just one thing. And it might not just be the client, it might be the family too. So many times I'm working to make the best situation for that client. The reason I like being in my own business is that I don't have any, uh, you know, boundaries. I can help people where they need the help the most. You know, my husband always reminds me why I'm in this. He's there, you're here to help people, you know, because, you know, business goes up and down. And sometimes you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't be in this, but uh, my heart's in the right place. I want to help people get what they need. And I know how to ask the right questions. I think that's the other thing. I do enjoy that interaction with the doctor or the nurse practitioner of how we can make the patient better, you know? Um,
Okay, so that's why you love your job. And I'm gonna. You
mhm,
just said something now, which I'm gonna
mhm,
uh, p- branch off that. I'm gonna start with you, John. You mentioned, there's a lot of self doubt when having your own business. There is
mhm,
self doubt. I mean, it's like anything. There's self doubt
mhm.
in any life. I mean, if I go on stage, I'm like, oh, what if this joke sucks? But then I usually know it's okay
Yeah.
because I've done them before. But John, for you, because we go through the ups and downs when you have your own business, how do you deal with self doubt? Because anytime that you start something, you have a little, you lose some self confidence. So how do you deal with self doubt, John?
I'm going to make, yeah. I can come off as arrogant because I really don't but like from a self doubt standpoint, it's really like it's the message getting across. Like especially when you're building
Mhm.
a business and you're trying to find your lane, like it's you can you want to be unique enough to be special, but not so unique that people don't get what you do. And I think that sometimes it's about like reaffirming that I'm doing this because for others. And if you do that, like I don't have any like a lack of confidence in my skills. It's just a matter of am I getting that message across accurately? And so like that's kind of where I have to go through and say I'm not doing this necessarily for me. I'm doing it for the people I get to photograph.
Okay, how about you, Susan? Because you're the one actually, the reason when you said something is spurred me to ask this question. How do you deal with self doubt when you're running your own business? You know you're helping people and you know you have a great service. But like anything, sometimes we get in our head, there's something back in our head going, you suck, Cooper. What? What do you mean? And how do you deal with self doubt?
Well, like John said, I know my skills. I know there are times that I do doubt myself, and then I need to just kind of figure out what it is I'm doubting myself about, and if I can rectify it. Uh, Especially in the medical community, there's so many things that are coming out that you got to be humble. You can't say you know everything. So with self doubt, I think it's more or less not as much self doubt as maybe you know, am I on the right track with this? With someone. Um, I again working with other people or in the health community, uh, they will definitely test your knowledge. So you have to be honest enough to say, is this? Do I know what I'm talking about? If I don't, then shut up, right?
Okay, that's good. No,
And listen.
my wife always tells me that. Shut up. I go, all right. I want to say hi to Teresa Crowlinger, a very funny comedian who's also his past Cooper Talk. The Coop Tank guest. And so, Anne, how do you deal with self doubt? Because as you said, you start your own business, and there's going to be self doubt in the back of your mind. How do you deal with it?
I think it's having great mentors that you can look up to, people that you can go to. One of my challenges is around marketing. So I go to people that are marketing specialists because I feel like I just don't really get that part of things. So I turn to people that know more than me in certain areas so that I can, gather all the information I can for my clients.
Okay, so we know how you deal with self doubt, everyone. We know, what you love about your job. So, Susan, what's something you can improve on? What is a skill that you think you can improve on, and that, like, you need to improve on it? What is something?
Well, I think I'm a pretty confident person, and I people say, they're like, well, they're afraid of you. For instance, I'll give you an example. Had a client in a rehab. She was in the hospital, went to the rehab, and of course, I was interacting with the staff, to make sure that my client was getting what she needed, even if she needed a blanket, right? Her guardian said to me one time, he said, I think they're afraid of you. I said, now who would be afraid of me? I'm a very nice person. But I think what they're afraid of is that the questions I'm going to ask, why are you doing this? What can we do about that? And I think that having that confidence, sometimes I have to pull it back a little bit. I think that's what I can improve on. I'm learning to be nicer and get my message across without, with my Philly street girl stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to come in and bash them between the eyes. Go in and try to talk to them first, So then later on, if you do need to punch them in the face, you have that in the back pocket.
This is unbelievable. I always see you come to the events and you've been on Coffee with Cooper, and you always seems to mild manner. Now I have to my next event, if I say something wrong, she's going to punch me in the fucking face. Susan Nolan's, and everyone's going to put on LinkedIn, oh my God, cocktails with Cooper last night. Susan Nolan punched Steve Cooper in the face. I can't, Joe, I feel bullied now. Joe, you better watch your ass, because if this show doesn't come out good, Susan Nolan's going to kick you in the nuts.
Oh,
you better be careful, I'm telling you.
That's usually my first go-to.
Okay, now I know. Next cocktails with Cooper, I'm wearing a cup. That's what I'm doing. Hey, Natalie Madenick says hi. Hi, Natalie. Natalie was on a few weeks ago. Sorry I missed your event, but I want to come to the event, the Elijah thing for the Voorhees Business Association, but I'm not a member. So, Natalie, send me an invite. Ann, I got lost the track. What do you need to improve on, Ann? What do you need to improve on?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say, Susan, I got your back if Coop's giving you any trouble, because I got a little streak. It's not South Philly, but I got a little streak myself. I feel like I keep it in my back pocket when needed.
Yeah, yes.
I think there's nothing wrong with having a little streak of don't mess with me, because sometimes we need that. In my business, I think really it's, so many people, when they hear what I do, they're like, oh, you're a day trader, you must make so much money, I want to do it. And everybody's really drawn into the idea of it, but not everyone is really going to do what it takes to make it happen, or has the capacity to really get to the finish line, or sometimes even has the money. You have to have some money to trade in order to take profit. So I meet a lot of people that are really excited about trading, and I could get better about, I always want everybody to be able to have and do what I have and do with trading. And I have to accept the fact that some people just aren't going to get there. And it takes me probably longer than it should to accept that with each person.
Okay, so basically you're going to dress up like Marie Antoinette and say, let them eat cake. That's what you're going to say. These people don't have the money. John, what do you need to improve on?
I think it's something I improved on greatly since I first started, it's always room for improvement. I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through this, is saying no to wrong fit clients, where when you are sure of yourself and the service you provide, but you're also in a place where you want to help everyone. Sometimes you take on work that you're just like, I shouldn't be here. This isn't going to be the best version of anything. So I've gotten a lot better, in recent years, but it's always something I'm looking to improve upon. And from a qualifying standpoint, to have an initial call and just say, is there a right fit here, or are you better served by another photographer?
Okay.
Can I just say something, Coop?
Sure.
John took portraits of my family, and I look at them every day, and I love them. It's just I get to see my smiling faced family every day.
He's good at what he does. There's a portrait of me in a Speedo and a gag ball. So John does a great job. So we're very proud of that. It's right as you walk in our place. It's right there, man. It's right there.
I feel like this went sideways. At the cocktail, Susan's going to be beating your ass. You're going to be in the outfit.
Exactly, and we'll pay admission for that, man. I'll tell you. Screw the donkey show in Tijuana. We got this. Okay, so. In the last few years, we came out of the pandemic. We've, sort of starting over. Like networking's changed. A lot of things have changed. The way you do business has changed. But we'll stay with you, John. In the last 2 or 3 years, when we're actually getting back to the normal, what are a few obstacles, or just an obstacle that you've encountered that you've actually overcome?
As far as networking, or
just in your business.
I think I started full time in 2019, and I had an idea of what I wanted to do. And I think that in some ways, I am still adapting to the array of businesses I do. Right. So I knew I didn't want to do weddings or events. Right. Those are things that are just not interesting to me. But I've recently started to do more business branding photography, which is a brand new thing for me. It's not, I have a background in it from my degree in marketing and years in business, but it was not something that I was going to do. Right. And now it's so now I got to adjust. I got to come up with a pricing model. I got to come up with a service model. These are things that you go, all right, well, there's a need in the marketplace. I can serve this need. It's something that it does interest me. So now I got to take time to take a step back and figure out a strategy for that. And I think it's just really just about retooling every once in a while and saying, what am I working on? I don't want to give up on certain things, but I also want to add to it without overwhelming, because I'm only one person. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge that I've overcome recently, is trying to figure out where my time is best spent.
Okay. How about you, Susan? In the last few years, what's an obstacle in your business that you've overcome, or a challenge? It can be either one.
Well, one of it was, getting in to see the doctors, finding doctors, because especially psychiatrists, one of the biggest challenges, a lot of people had mental health issues during the pandemic. And so many of the psychiatrists decided that it was too much, and it was hard to find a psychiatrist. So that was one of the big things after the pandemic. As far as my business went, with the pandemic, things evolved. We had telehealth, so that was new for my clients. That was a hurdle that we had to get over. Now everybody does telehealth, right? You can get a telehealth appointment anywhere. The other part was, I think in my own mind, is my price points. How did when I first decided on a price of what my services would cost, I had to figure out if I would pay that price. Would I pay that price for somebody? And I that was one of the challenges that I felt was I charging too much? Once I found people in the industry, they were saying I was charging not enough. But in my heart, I have to charge what I feel comfortable with. So some of the challenges were, I had just started actually in February of 2020. I started my business then. And whenever I told anybody I was in business, they're like, you're not going to get any clients. It's, it's a pandemic. But I did get clients. We did telehealth. We wore masks. So, I think one of the things was the workarounds of the pandemic were the challenge for me and my clients.
Okay. How about you, Ann?
Yeah, so for us, it's really about reacting to the public at large, and the economy has an impact on the decisions that people are making in regards to whether or not they want to trade. And so a lot of people are feeling an economic crunch right now. So we've recently just rolled out a new program where instead of learning to trade, we send the members one trade per day. All they have to do is place the trade in the broker account of their choice, and the trade wins about 80% of the time. The reason why that's valuable to people is because they don't have to learn how to trade, which has a much higher price point in terms of education. With this, it's just a monthly service fee. They stay for as long as they want, or as long as they're continuing to make money is usually what they base it on. And since it wins at about 80%, people continue to make money. So that's been the biggest change that we've done recently to help people be able to trade in a way that suits their budget better.
Okay. Also, I'm going to say in the last few years, maybe in the last 2 years, or maybe in the last year, it depends. You can say whatever. We'll start with you, Ann. What's something, one thing professional and one thing personal that you're very proud about? You're very proud. Like I said the other day, I'm very proud of how Cocktails with Cooper grew. Because as I said, once it was 20 people, and then now it's evolved to this event, and I get sponsors, and and it's fun. So that's something and also the comedy shows I'm running, I'm very proud of. But what is something professional? One thing professional and one thing personal you're proud of right now, Ann?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. So professional, I think it's really I'm kind of going to go back to the previous question where I said, like, I don't cut my losses with people early enough. It's that I am really committed to the people that I'm working with. Maybe a little bit too long. Maybe I need to have some boundaries around that. But, when people work with me, I'm going to do my very best to make sure that I get them into the best possible position for them. Or if it's not going to work for them at all, helping them to see that and saying, yeah, this isn't a great fit for you. So professionally, I really stand by my my clients. Personally, I have a lot to be proud of, but I would say what comes to my mind immediately is my two daughters. One's 23; she graduated in December. She just got a job offer, her first real job, or first adult job, I should say. She's had plenty of real jobs. She just got a job offer the other day. She's going to be working just here in Philly, which is great because she can stay home and save money. And then my younger one, she's a junior in college and she's at Notre Dame. So I'm tremendously proud of both my daughters and the people that they are, that they're open-minded, that they're kind, they're good people. And I think that they're going to, do good things in the world.
Okay, cool. How about you, Susan?
Well, I'm proud I started my own business because it was from scratch, and it's at a nice pace for me. I think that just launching that business, I'm proud of, and how far it's come, and the people that I've helped. Personally, I've been successful with my family, my married life. I've been married for 47 years, and uh, some of those years were really good. But um, uh, I think I'm proud mostly of what I've achieved. I have come from Philadelphia, so I was from a single mom who was struggling to raise six kids, and pulled myself out of that you know that that cycle of staying in that cycle. So getting back to school, I finished not only getting my nursing degree, but I also went on and got a master's degree. So I kind of, I think I'm proud of those accomplishments.
Okay. How about you, John? Personal and professional.
From a professional standpoint, like I love, like, I would never have predicted where my camera was going to take me. And I think I made a post about this recently because, like, so I do some work for Philly Current Magazine. We have our new issue coming out on Monday. And one of the articles is an Olympic diver who lives in the city. And she is a silver medalist from Paris. And I got to hold a silver medal in my hand because I take photos now. And that was like one of the coolest things to say, oh my God, I would never have been in a room with a silver medal, like, other than that. So I just thought that was like a cool experience. I'm proud of nothing personally at all. Like I've not grown. Like, no, I'm an Eagle season ticket holder. I'm very proud of my contribution to the team's win, as I was there every game. No, I think I've just learned, like, I've gone through different chapters of my life, and each time I have taken lessons and applied them and grown. So I think that, like, I'm just a much more well-rounded person now than I was 10 years ago or 10 years before that. And I think that continual growth is something to be proud of.
I'm gonna do this question. I wasn't sure if I'm gonna do it, but it's because John and me have talked about this. Your comment about I'm glad I contributed to the Eagles reminds me about, like, people on LinkedIn who will sit there and I posted after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I'm waiting for someone to jump on the thing on the LinkedIn and say how their business strategy compares to the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, because everything's about people. Okay, and I'm gonna bring it up now about LinkedIn. Is we're gonna talk about LinkedIn for a second. And I am guilty of this. In the beginning, I was guilty of this. It's called excessive tagging. And when I used to have, like, coffee with Cooper, I would put the name of everyone who was at the event, like, at my event. So, because then it would get all these people to see,
Mm-hmm.
But then I started looking and I going, God, why am I doing this? First, it was a lot of work and what's it doing for me. So now, and it's funny, even when it comes to cocktails with Cooper, I take a lot of pictures, and I posted a black and white one. And I go, it's a good event. And I don't tag anybody, but I used to. I do thank my sponsors. I tag my sponsors because they deserve it. Like Susan, you were in it, and I tag you again today. But that's the one thing I have now on a problem with LinkedIn is the excessive tagging. It's like, okay, you're at an event. to the whole world the 37 other people you are. And the thing what happens also is when you get it tagged like that, every time someone likes it, it shows up in your notifications. I want my notifications to be my stuff. I don't want it to be someone else's. And you're like, in Facebook, you can remove a tag. I don't have to do that on LinkedIn. So Anne, what is something you don't like about LinkedIn?
I don't love LinkedIn. I kind of feel like you have to use LinkedIn, right? Like you said, you're out networking, you don't have LinkedIn. What's even the point of networking? I kind of find it a little challenging to get through all the content I'm on. I want to read the content because I'm on LinkedIn. I want to find out what people are doing. But sometimes there's just a lot of stuff on there that I feel is maybe kind of unnecessary, along the lines of like excessive tagging. Sometimes the content is just not the best.
Okay. I hate when it's also my takeaway. I don't give a shit what your takeaway is and what I've learned. I don't give a shit what you've learned. Like, how does that pertain to me? Like, are you that arrogant that you're saying what I've learned? I'm going to go, holy shit, such and such learned this. I'm going to change my whole life. Oh my God, I've been doing it wrong. Oh God, I'm going to redo my whole comedy act. Man, I shouldn't even be doing comedy because such and such learned that he should be doing this. And it's lately it's been getting to me because it's excessive. Like everybody has their takeaways. It's like the keynote speaker. How many speeches are there? You know, like, I mean, how many? There's like 8,000 keynote speakers and there's 4 things. My wife was a keynote speaker at a Take Back the Night at Stockton, okay, for sexual assault because she's an advocate. First speaker there. And she did colleges and like that. But she doesn't put in her thing keynote speaker, even though she's done more keynotes than most people. I mean, people sit there and go, oh, I talked to the Chamber of Commerce. Oh, I talked at a luncheon. I'm a fucking keynote speaker. No, you spoke at a chamber and you didn't get paid. Anyway, Susan, what do you not like about LinkedIn?
Well, I guess I shouldn't tell you I was a keynote speaker. What do I not like about LinkedIn? Well, I hate when they keep asking me if I want to, use $100, $500 for advertising. I like LinkedIn because it keeps me, active with people, that I know and new people. I don't know. I think it's just the fact that they keep bugging me about, putting more ads on there. I don't know if you get them, but, they're like, you could reach this amount of people. And then it costs money to do it. That's the other thing that kind of bothers me.
All right.
Yeah. And personal things. When people put a lot of, things that aren't professional, I think that kind of bothers me too.
Okay. How about you, John? I know John always has his opinions on this. John, I'll say right now, I'm going to steal
I have
John's
lots
thunder.
of opinions on this.
John hates the word ninja. I hate the word ninja. And John hates the word pivot. And see, that's how many times John's done this show. I know he hates ninja and he hates pivot.
Well, I have new words now.
Okay,
because words don't have meaning anymore when it comes to the internet. No one's excited about getting a certificate in Excel. Like, just stop. Like, you're not excited. I'm excited to announce that.
Let me interrupt real quick. Let me interrupt, John. Let me interrupt real quick. I was going to post something the other day. I just got a certificate in nothing because I keep seeing it. How many? Once again, go.
I saw a job posted and said they were looking for somebody who is passionate about alternative credit data. I'm sorry, what? No one's passionate about that. There's like 5 people who know what that is. Like, it's not their like lifeblood. Like, can we just use words that like, you don't have to overhype everything because like now it's just everything is so exciting that everything's boring. So that's my current gripe right now.
Yeah, people aren't coming across as genuine because they're trying to hype everything up.
No, like,
yeah.
Exactly.
It's
funny that.
But John, I'm actually a ninja in Excel, just so you know.
There you go.
Okay, so we're going to shift gears here. We're going to stop bitching.
Pivot.
We're going to stop bitching because I'm bitching
Every time
today.
I hear pivot, I think of Ross and Friends and
Exactly.
The couch.
So, okay. And you can't use anyone in your family. Okay, when I ask this question, I'm going to start with you, Anne, and it's in the last 5 years. And it can be personal or professional, but it can't be anyone in your family. Someone who's played a very important role in where you are at, and it's going to be personal, professional in the last 5 years.
Probably the This is going to be a professional answer. Would be the founders of my company, because I really respect the way that these guys show up in the world. They're not just all about making money and taking advantage of people. They really want people to be able to change their lives and have access to something that's going to help them change it financially. The new program they just came out with, they could have managed it in a much different way than they are, as far as them making money, and they really are going about it in a more, I'm not going to say altruistic, because it's not, I mean, they're still making money, but they really care about people and the well-being that the clients of the company have, and they recognize that the people that have been along building the company and the clients are what makes the company. And the reason why I respect that is, previously I've worked for a lot of companies where the only thing they care about is making money, and they don't care about the employees or the customers. All they see is that bottom line. So for me, that's been really great. I've been with them now since 2020. It's been great to work with people that really want what's best for the people that are involved.
All right. Teresa Crowder wants to know, who doesn't get excited about Excel? Teresa, this is for you. Seinfeld going, who doesn't get excited about Excel? Okay. John, someone important in the last 5 years.
So I would say in the last 5 years for me, I'm trying to think about this, like, and it's in a professional sense. Eddie Keels, who is the owner and publisher of Philly Current magazine, he was kind of the first to like recognize I was doing something different on Instagram. Eventually, like, gave me an award. Then, like, when I went full time, hired me. But he also runs a branding and design agency on the, like, that Philly Current's all of our sidekick. He runs so he, from somebody who left a creative team when I left Vanguard and I started working on my own, having no team to bounce ideas off of, he's somebody I can check in with periodically and like help get my brain going and like kind of right my ship when I'm bouncing off ideas. So he's somebody that like has really like helped me out and define the type of photographer that I am, and all the while employing me for Philly Current magazine.
How about you, Susan?
There's one person I can really think about, and her name's Betty Mall. She's I belong to the South Jersey Women in Business. She's one of the members, and she owns a printing company. And I met her when I first started, and we were talking about something, and I said, it was about business, about money basically, and I can't the exact words, but she kind of yelled at me and said, "You have to know," and like. I was taken back, right? So I didn't throw any punches, Steve. She made me think, wait a minute, I'm in charge here and I have to make these decisions. And if I have to say no, I have to say no, So, I think Betty was a big, she really took interest in my business and really supported me and kind of, was behind me, cheering me on. I have to say Betty.
Hey, Betty's done the show twice. She's great. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be honest. If Susan and Betty get in a fight, my money's going on Betty. She's got that Irish temper. I'm telling you. I got Betty. I got Betty knocking out Susan in round 4. That's what I got.
I doubt it.
So if we have, now we got now Susan Nolan's talking shit. So I'm going to start this whole LinkedIn. I'm going to start a LinkedIn battle, a LinkedIn feud. I'm going to say, hey, Betty Mall, Susan Nolan says you're weak. I'll go, hey, Susan Nolan, Betty Mall says you got no game. I'm starting it. You're going to see it on LinkedIn.
Oh, you're going to start one.
You can post a poll.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna post a LinkedIn poll. Who wins a fight, Susan Nolan or Betty Mall? And we'll see. And that's gonna be very interesting. I'm excited, man. Today's been Joe, man. Today's going off the hook, huh?
I'm loving it, man.
I think remember,
it's because me and Joe are gonna get pizza later, so I'm in the pizza mood. So anyway, all right.
Just remember, I'm a nurse. I know your pressure points.
Oh yeah, but
exactly
Betty, I don't care. Betty was she's an athlete. And she's, and her husband was a good college basketball player. And I think she knows how to wield a field hockey stick. So no pressure points. Anyway, here's your question, since we're having such a good time and we're all just it's a Friday and we're live on the internet and we've got some good comments. Thank you for people who are watching. I do appreciate that. This is a question. It's a 2-parter. And if the answer is the same, that's okay. But we're going to start with you, John. Your definition right now in your life, not when you're younger, but right now in your life, what's your definition of happiness and also success? And as I said, I think they're different. I always pose this question. I think they're two completely different things. I mean, success is, one thing. Happiness, I mean, happiness I can find when I hear my wife, laughing at a TV show. That makes me happy. That's happiness. She's like, because she's not in the room with me. So I'm happy. She's out in the other room. But no, John, what's happiness and success?
So I also view them as two different things. I view happiness as an internal thing and success as an external thing. So happiness is regardless of the situation, all of the externalities. Like happiness is something that you build within yourself. And so that's where you find your moments of happiness. So to me, it is just, that's just a practice to like be happy in that moment, whatever the situation is. Not that I'm always happy, like I'm not saying that, but you know what I'm saying. Success for me is really, continuing to do what I'm doing right now, which is like connect with people, create images. Like I'm enjoying this, right? And doing it enough that like, this is like, there's that saying, like when you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. Like I can do longer hours doing this than I could in any other career I've had, right? Because I enjoy doing it. I don't mind, the Saturday morning or editing at night because I'm actually enjoying this. So for me, success is just being able to maintain this as a lifestyle.
Okay. How about you, Susan? Happiness and success.
Well, success I really felt it. I think I had a birthday, one of my birthdays, we had gone down and we finally got a beach. We rented a beach house right on the beach. And I think that was success to me because all my life I would look at those houses and say, that's so great. How do these people get there? So success to me was, all the things that I did in my life to that point where I was sitting on the beach at the house, looking out over the ocean, watching butterflies go by. That to me. I kind of I finally got to the mountaintop. Happiness to me, geez, I'm a happy person to begin with because I just love people. So I think happiness to me is, being around my grandkids basically because they're all similar to me. They're all kind of, a little saucy. So we have a good time. So I think that's
she's raising an army.
I can imagine a Susan Nolan family reunion or a wedding, the people just getting hammered and just like beating the shit out of each other. Like we'll see it like those fights in Chuck E. Cheese. You see, like I always laugh when people get into a fight at Chuck E. Cheese. It's like, who goes into Chuck E. Cheese to actually think in their background, I might get in a fight. Like, oh my God, you threw the skee ball before I got to throw the skee ball. And they get into a fight. I've even seen that. Like they're big brawls. And I'm thinking, you're there for your kids. But I don't know. I can't go in there because I have a restraining order. I can't be around kids. I'm joking. I'm joking, people. It's a joke. And happiness and success.
Yeah. So for me, happiness is a choice that I get to make moment by moment by moment. I think you can always I'm going to, preface this by saying in the absence of a mental health issue, I know there are people with mental health things. And so happiness being a choice is not fair in that situation. But for me, just being mindful of my environment, being present and being grateful for what I have is what makes me happy. And so I'm pretty much happy most of the time because there's always things to be grateful for. As far as success, I think that's also kind of a moment by moment thing where am I taking the steps towards my goals? And we all have so many different goals and a pathway to get there. So am I consistently taking the action steps that I need to get to my goals? And to me, that's success because, I get to be working towards it regularly. I don't think there's an end path to success. I think, there's lots of successes along the way.
Okay. So, because we all network and we meet a lot of people, when you're out and you're networking, people come to you and ask you for referrals. Okay. And we all know that if you give a referral and the person sucks, the person you referred them to, that they're not mad at them, they're mad at you. They're like, what was this? Or I've heard, you told me to look up this person, they never called me back. I called them 3 times. I need this done. I need this done. So you have to really be you have to be confident in a person. Like I don't like on Facebook when someone asks me to like a business when I don't know the person. I am not going to like the business because that's putting my name and my validity to it. And it's nothing against the person who asks me, but I'm like, I have no idea what this business is. This person might be the biggest asshole in the world. They might suck at what they do. But for Susan, for you to refer someone, if someone comes up to you and maybe asks you, it could be anything, of a plumber or an insurance guy or whatever, what characteristics and what kind of work ability do people have to have for you to refer them?
Well, I do refer people, and so if it doesn't work out, I feel a little responsible because I refer them. So I do take, I do need to know who I'm referring to, first of all. Is this somebody, because my clients mean a lot to me. So for me to refer them to a doctor, to say a home health agency, I need to know what that home health agency is about. And I've met, a few owners of those agencies, and I would refer to them because of the integrity of the owner. But sometimes that doesn't trickle down to the aides on the front line. So many times, for me to refer to them, I need to know that they have the same integrity I do, that I'm going to give good service. I'm going to work for my money, and I'm not going to treat anybody badly.
Okay. How about you, John, to refer someone? Because you're out and about and you always do that cool person thing. It's a lot of people probably come up to you and ask for referrals.
Yeah.
But what is something that is important?
So for me, like, I'm probably a little bit more liberal in how I give out referrals, but I'm also transparent. I'll say, yes, I know somebody who does that, and I know nothing about what they do. So that's like, and I'm just upfront with that conversation and say, I can make the introduction, but I've never worked with them. I don't know the quality of their work. Like, I can't vouch for any of it, but I know a person in that field if you want that connection. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But like at that point, like, and I feel bad if it doesn't work out, but I don't feel ownership of it because I was very upfront in saying, I've never worked with this person.
Right.
For the others, like, it's like, okay, I know this person. I know I can trust them. I know that they'll deliver. I know like the quality, like I know that there will be a personality fit, because I look at that too. Because like, even if you're the best at what you do, if there's not a personality fit, that's just going to be an uncomfortable experience. So those are the types of things I look for. But I do like just make introductions and just say, I've never worked with this person, but they're in my network, and this is possibilities there.
Okay. How about you, Ann?
Yeah, so pretty much I'm going to mirror what John said. If I've worked with somebody, then I say, oh yeah, they've done this work for me and I was really happy. But if it's just kind of more of a casual acquaintance, then I'm going to do the same thing John says. Like, yeah, I know somebody that does that. I've never used them. I don't know much about them. So just kind of tread lightly, make sure that you're kind of vetting the person yourself. I am also a member of BNI. So BNI really kind of holds people accountable for, when you get inducted, there's a statement that you make to the group that you're going to, be upfront about your pricing and how you handle your business with your referrals. So I do think that when I refer within BNI, I have more confidence, even when I don't know the people personally, because BNI has that expectation. But again, I would tell people like, yeah, this is someone that I know through BNI, but I haven't personally used them.
Okay. Now we're going to get on to networking, because we all network. And people, the next Cocktails of Cooper, because we're not going to be on air before then, will be Wednesday, June 4th, right there again at Splits Bar and Grill in Laurel Lanes. It's at 4:30. I have 4 of my 6 sponsors. So if you're interested in sponsoring, please reach out to me. You can email me at thecooptank@yahoo.com. So let's get to networking. I'm going to ask you a question, and don't elaborate too much, but just say yes or no, and then we're going to get into it. John, do you think you're a good networker?
Yes.
Ann, do you think you're a good networker?
Yes.
Okay. Susan, do you think you're a good networker?
I think I'm a good networker. Yes.
Okay. So what do you guys, but what do you like about networking and what do you not? Well, first of all, why do you think you're a good networker? I mean, you're not, you and Ann. So I think you're on the fence. What do you think about your networking skills?
So I'm not necessarily great at generating conversations with new people. I don't necessarily always feel comfortable with that. So sometimes I gravitate towards the people that I know, and we're not out to be social. We're out to meet new people. So it's also sometimes hard if people are in a conversation to just kind of hop in. That's not very, usually not welcome and not very comfortable either. So I just kind of have some things that I'm not super comfortable with in networking.
Okay, how about Susan? You said yes. So why do you think you're a good networker?
Well, I feel I engage people. I like to talk to people. I like to meet people. So, and coming from Philly, you talk to people. You're like, hey, how you doing? When you're walking down the street, you might not know them. You're in a corner store. You're talking to everybody in there. Um, so I think I'm a good networker. Now, on the back end, once I meet you, I might put your card aside and never find it again. But on the front end, I'll hopefully remember your name and face.
It's funny you say that about the Philly thing because when I lived in LA, I mean, if you were at a bar and you saw someone with an Eagles hat or a Phillies hat, you'd immediately talk to them. Even if you're from New Jersey, like you're from the area.
Yes.
I had one friend who's used to, you're not from Philly. I go, well, I'm from Cherry Hill. It's not too far. And,
Right.
and then he had these girls call me one night. We're from King of Prussia. You're not from Philly. I'm like, you're not from Philly either. You're further away from Philly than I am. You're a fucking King of Prussia. That's like you might as well be from Harrisburg for Christ's sake. John, why you said you're a good networker, or what makes you a good networker?
I'm ridiculously charming.
Well, real quick, they do say bald men make the best networkers. That's a known fact. I read it in Cosmopolitan.
There you go.
John.
That's totally science. No, I think that what makes me a good networker, I'm genuinely interested in other people's stories. And so like when you're going to these things, like I want to hear about what they do and what they're passionate about. Like that's just genuinely interesting to me. So it doesn't come off as fake because I'm actually in the conversation. And so I think that that's what makes me a good networker is that I try to learn about the people I meet.
Okay. So, well, this is really flied today. Flew. God, look at me. Flew, whatever. I always end up with this question. I end in this question because I always like to hear people's advice because I always feel like you can learn from some people. You can always learn from people. Like, I substitute teaching a few days ago and I'm learning from the next generation. However, I did see a kid the other day. This is no lie. He put ketchup on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I said, we could be screwed when we get old. We could be screwed big time. But I learn from these kids, and I have some special ed kids, and I learn from them, because I see, we get so caught up in stuff, and they're just swinging on a swing, having fun, and I'm thinking maybe we're the ones considered special ed because this kid's having the time of his life. It's like the old when St. Elsewhere ended, the kid looked in the snow globe, and the whole thing was this autistic kid seeing this whole series. So we always learn, and I always feel like we should learn. So if someone comes up to you, and we'll start with you, Susan. If someone comes up to you and wants to just figure shit out, it could be anyone. It could be someone changing careers. It could be someone getting out of trade school or getting out of high school, and they came to you and they looked at you in the mentor, you as their mentor. Mm. It could be life about business, but what advice would you give someone?
Oh, that's a good question, and it's kind of a broad question. And I taught LPNs for a few years, and the new generation is different than us. When I would tell them to go on break, I would say, "Come back at quarter of." They'd say, "Miss Sue, what's quarter of?" I was like, 11:45. So we do have some challenges with that break between the two generations. But what I would say to them is to follow your heart. Many times people have said to me, "Oh, there's no jobs in nursing." It was a second career for me. And people are saying, "Oh, there's no jobs out there." And I would say to myself, well, that's, I'm doing it because I want to do it, and let the cards fall where they may. So I always say, follow your heart, follow your gut. If that's what you want to do, pursue it, and I always did that. Fortunately, my parents were the way that, they, go forward, do whatever you want to do, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Okay. So, and what you said, you might hurt someone because she's from Philly, and I think Betty Mall's going to hurt her, though.
I'm betting on Betty
Mall. I'm going to tell Betty Mall. My money's on Betty Mall. And what is something that if someone came to you in the mentor, and plus you have daughters, as you said, you have daughters, and if someone came to you in mentor capacity, what would you tell them?
So pretty similar to Susan. For me, it's shut out the noise. So the noise of society, the noise of probably well-meaning friends and family, but sometimes that's noise. And sometimes our own brains, our ego are feeding us a lot of stuff, fear and anxiety. So shut out the noise and really listen to your gut, as Susan said, and that's where you're going to know what it is that you want to do. I'm a pretty spiritual person, so there's, that spiritual connection there for me to really like know what is my next right step to take. And that's something that I feel like comes from shutting everything else out and just being present with myself.
Okay, how about you, John?
I would say, like, don't be afraid to pursue random interests, right? And it doesn't have to be a side hustle. It doesn't have to you don't have to make it, monetize it, or make it a career. But I think that there's a, at least I've heard it recently, like in the younger generation, like they're calling things cringe. Like, oh, you're interested in that? That's cringe. And it's like those diversity of interests eventually like will reveal themselves into something that you'll apply later. Like that's where creativity comes from, is experiencing a lot of things that you're just interested in, and then you may not pick on them until like years down the road, but like just be interested in things. I would rather hear what somebody's interested in than the list of things that they find cringe. And I think that we just need to get back to like just being interested in stuff.
Okay, well, this has been great. And just, before when we get off air, I got to take a picture of us all, so don't leave. But Susan, how can people get in touch with you?
They can find me on the web at discoverhealthadvocacy.com, or they could call me at 856-571-8547, and I will be glad to give them a free 30-minute consultation.
All right. How about you, Ann?
So our two websites, currencytradesystem.com is about our education offerings and working with us in a trial program. And then if people are interested in just taking that one trade a day that I mentioned, the website is tradeaday.com, or they're welcome to call or text me at 609-471-3655.
How about you, John Cruise?
I can be found anywhere on the internet. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok, I'm John_Cruise. I am John Cruise or John Cruise Photography on the other platforms. So, and johncruise.com is my website.
Okay, so people, all check them out if you need their services. You can email me at thecooptank@yahoo.com. Thursday, this coming Thursday, May 15th, at Splits in the Luxury Lounge. It's Laughter at the Lanes, a Steve Cooper production. We have a great comedy show. My headliner is Mark Riccadonna, who is just seen on CBS's hit show FBI Most Wanted, with Tim Grohl as a feature. The 28th, May 28th is a Wednesday. I'll be down there at the Soundplex doing the Corks Comedy and Connections. It's a great show. The Soundplex is beautiful. Chris Koch will be headlining. And on May 29th, it's a debut of a beer barrel full of laughs. I'll be at the Death of the Fox Brewing Company, and Casey already got her tickets. The wonderful Jay Black is headlining. So that's for me. Just go listen to our past episodes. Go to coopertalk.net to find over 1,040 episodes of big celebrities and rock stars that I interview. And also, if you're on YouTube, when you look up this show, look up Coop's Comedy Corner. And finally, Joe, what do you give a quick plug for what you're doing?
So Sweet Recording is the Mount Laurel content studio where we love to work with brands and businesses on video and audio and live streaming needs. We do studio design and installation. If you're looking to take your content in-house, we do all kinds of stuff, pretty much anything under the sun you can think of within that space. So contact me on LinkedIn. Would love to connect, or go to sweetrecording.com, SUITE recording.com. And then there's Contap, which is CONNTAP.com. I won't talk about that too much more, but really cool stuff. We're just trying to make it really easy for you to connect and share whatever matters most in a tap.
All right. And people, don't forget also check out the Howard Eskin Show that Joe produces. You can find on YouTube. So we won't be back till June 6th, but keep watching our shows, keep rating them, subscribing, and you all have a wonderful weekend. Me and Joe are going to get pizza.